Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the regular show Wiki podcast. We all know why we're here today. As I'm sure you are all aware, these past couple weeks we have had the first 10 episodes of regular show The Lost Tapes. It took us 2 years, but we got there. At least we didn't have to wait as long as we did with Close Enough.
Yeah. It only feels like yesterday when it was announced.
We all remember where we were. I was in bed.
I literally just got in the house, like when I heard the news, so
Just before we do continue at all, please, if you have not watched these episodes, go check them out, then come back to the podcast because we will be discussing spoilers, I'm sure, like very in depth. Even if this is 10 years in the future and you still haven't seen the Lost Tapes for some reason, go watch them because they are, without spoiling the podcast, they are pretty good. So, I mean, just before we begin, I do want to ask, how are you enjoying the experience of having new regular show episodes coming out? Because I mean, you've mentioned before how obviously you became a fan after the original show had ended.
well, it feels nice, because like now I can finally actually experience the show as it's going on. I never got to experience that when the show was actually happening. So it feels nice. One thing though, I do wish we would get like a new episode weekly instead of like every day or something, or like a bunch of episodes, because like I know, because like over here, it's like a bunch of episodes released at once, like each week. So
Yeah, even like that happened a few times in the original series, and I don't really think it did. I don't really think it did the series much good. Um, Obviously, the people that actually work on the series have no input as to when these episodes or how these episodes come out. It'd be nice, like it would be nice if in this episode we were just talking about like the first three episodes and then be able to be excited about the next episode, which would be Nap Spot, instead of it being an episode that we don't even know. We don't even know when the next episodes are coming now because we've just had
yeah,
this first batch. And it kind of reminds me of Close Enough in that way, how you just get a bunch of episodes in one day, then you'd have to wait like a year, which hopefully we don't have to wait that long to get more regular show. But yeah, another thing just on that I do want to mention, the viewing figures for the first episodes have come out. The first two episodes, which had back to back, received 203,000 viewers, which compared to the original show might not sound like a lot at all, but you have to consider we are living in the age of streaming and really viewing figures don't matter as much as they did like 10 years ago. Not as many people have Cartoon Network, but it is really, those are really good figures to have. I don't think Cartoon Network sees that much these days. However, you can tell there is a steady decline throughout the week, which I think comes down to the fact that because these episodes have been released early internationally, more American viewers are just resorting to piracy. If anyone that's in charge of scheduling at Cartoon Network or HBO, just at Warner Brothers, is listening to this, maybe consider our suggestions. Consider like not just dropping a bunch of episodes at once. So just before we get into the first episode, I want to ask, did you rewatch anything in the lead up to this series premiere?
not exactly. As you know, HBO Max did recently just come out over here in the UK, back in like March. And since my computer, I have like a VPN which automatically connects when I turn on my computer, and for some reason it's always connected to the Netherlands. So because of that, I have been watching the show in Dutch these past few weeks.
What's the dubbing like in Dutch?
It's interesting, honestly. Some of the character voices, like they're all right, but like Mordecai's voice actor in Dutch, like it's all right. Like it definitely does have that, like more chilled out voice, like JJ Quindel's. But it's Muscle Man who, like, I don't know, like it sounds just very, very weird to be honest.
Well, I mean, on the flip side of that with Muscle Man, what I want to say is like you said, HBO Max only came out here like a couple months back. And here in the UK, we have like every European language as like an audio option. So I checked out, I went to go listen to like some of the original songs. Sometimes like Party Tonight, for example, some countries just use the original version. But other countries did cover it in their own language, which was really cool. But my favorite one to go to was Muscleman's song in Kill It Radio. It was so funny hearing it in other like with these other voice actors singing it. I mean, there was one I can't remember which country it was, but one of the Muscleman voice actors just sounded so disinterested in singing it. Like, God, do I really have to do this? But I want to give a very special shout out. I can't remember the name, but to the Norwegian voice actor for Muscle Man because he sounds the whole time like he's having the absolute time of his life. And it's just, yeah, that's a lot of fun. Unfortunately, we don't have those foreign audio tracks for the Lost Tapes, so I've yet to hear what he might sound like in the new series. But I just absolutely fell in love with that version of the character. But yeah, so I mean, just going on to like leading up to the series, I did a very quick marathon over the weekend before the episodes came out, where I just watched like the essential plot episodes of the show leading up to the finale, and I literally finished the finale like 10 minutes before the premiere of the new series. So emotions were quite raw going into it. And I mean, I feel like this is the perfect segue to start talking about Fix That Tape. What an opening, am I right?
Yeah, I honestly, in my opinion, it is a fantastic way to actually like start this new series. And like Mr. Blue Sky accompanying scene with Pops in Heaven, like it is Chef's Kiss beautiful, like the perfect intro. Like I couldn't imagine like anything better to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you couldn't think of a better song to represent Pops. It's like that entire, just the first 2 minutes of that episode felt like 9 years of needed therapy condensed into 2 minutes. The original regular show ending, it was very emotional. You know, I love that we still got to see that the guys went on to live their lives happily, but it's just sad knowing Pops wasn't there. But then immediately getting to see, oh, Pops is living it up in the afterlife, literally seemingly happier than ever. Yeah, it meant a lot that they started the series like that. I did see a comment, someone on Reddit, I think, said, "Oh, this should have just been like a little scene at the beginning of the next episode." But it's like, no, I think this needed to be its own episode. After such a monumentous finale and everything that led up to it, it would feel so weird if we just went straight from that into Skip's Luau.
Yeah.
And we have to talk about a little Mr. Maylard cameo.
Oh yeah.
To anyone who's unaware, the voice actor for Mr. Maylard, David Ogden Stiers, unfortunately passed away just 1 year after the original finale. The last thing he ever worked on was regular show. You know, naturally, it would have been like, okay, well, if we're getting more regular show, it'll probably just be without Mr. Maylard. But seeing him, living in the afterlife, it felt like a really nice tribute to the voice actor. And, especially again, I just watched the finale and there's that shot where Mr. Maylard's crying as he realizes that Pops hasn't returned to Earth with the rest of the gang. And that I feel like that shot's just stuck with me all this time. So again, therapy. Seeing that Mr. Mallet is reunited with Pops is really, it's just really heartfelt and was a really needed addition to this episode.
That is exactly how I would put it too.
I think out of respect, they're not recasting the character. Of course, he can show up in any of like the Lost Tapes episodes, but I imagine if he does, it would be like a background silent cameo. Um,
Yeah,
Same goes for like Death and other characters whose voice actors have since passed.
yeah.
Are there any like specific jokes in this episode that you enjoyed? Because there were a lot of them.
Well, to be also, I feel like this show so far, not a, I wouldn't say there's been a single episode that had like a very funny moment, and this one had like a bunch of them. There was obviously the D show joke. There's also the disc joke. Um,
Oh, just a couple of dudes whipping their discs out.
yeah. Uh, it is a very funny one.
I mean, to anyone who's following us over on Instagram, you will see that every coinciding with the release of every episode, we're doing these little quotes posts, quotes from the episodes. Obviously, because we're in the UK, we do see the episodes first before the
Yeah.
US, which still feels very weird. But yeah, those are basically if you want to know what my favorite jokes are in each episode, it's pretty much like what made me laugh. Um, Although I'm trying to limit them to like 7 quotes per post. Um, but yeah, I mean, there was just a bunch of great stuff. We had the return of VG, the video guy from
Oh yeah.
Brain Eraser. He's also changed his uniform. He's wearing like a golden uniform now instead of a blue one. I guess because he's in the afterlife. Oh, and then another thing that made me laugh was when the concierge worker is rambling on about how she doesn't get it, but she does. She's just basically telling Pops to go to the record keeping department, and Pops is just like, "That was a very long sentence, thank you." It reminds me of the scene in Pop's favorite planet when Mordecai. It just cuts to a scene of Mordecai and Rigby rapping about stars, and then it cuts to Pop saying, "Yes, stars are fascinating, but now back to what I was saying before you cut me off with that really long song." But yeah, what about plot wise? Do you think there's maybe something bigger here than what the episode's making out to be?
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel like there definitely is like more happening here, like with like Jamfco, and the VHS person.
Yeah, I mean, it was one thing I thought about initially was like, they got Julian Barrett to voice the VHS man, which is a pretty big deal. If you don't know who Julian Barrett is, he's basically like half of the Mighty Boosh, which was a huge inspiration for regular show. It was him and Noel Fielding. So to get like one of the main guys from that feels quite like sweet. But I was thinking like, wait, why is he only doing the show for like a few lines though? But then I realized that at the end, when Pops escapes from the back rooms, we see the VHS man watching over him. So we could perhaps get more of him. Um, I also think maybe, possibly, we could be heading for a resurgence of the format wars.
Oh yeah, 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 that could be possible, you know.
But yeah, because like there is some pretty non-subtle commentary on like preserving physical media and streaming taking over. It seems like that might be where they're heading. I feel like at some point we're gonna get an episode because Pops has like we see I counted there's 24 tapes that Pops gets. So maybe at one point the tape's gonna end and Pops is ready to put in a new one, and then Jamfco come knocking at the door because Pops shouldn't have those extra tapes or something.
Yeah, that's definitely possible.
I just do feel like they were setting up way too much there for that to be a one off. And JG has said that it'll all make sense at the end. Like, I think that's what he said. Like, there is a story here. Just to kind of close off our discussion on this episode, just one thing I want to point out is this episode wasn't storyboard driven. It appears that this episode was scripted, which, again, to those who aren't aware, regular show has never been a scripted show. It's always been storyboard driven, in that the writers will write outlines and then the storyboard artist will write all the dialogue and do all the images. It seems this episode, though, instead of it saying like written and storyboarded by, it says that it was written by J.G. Quintel, Sean Sellers, Toby Jones, and Calvin Wong. And it was written and boarded by Calvin Wong and C.T. Liu. Obviously, this isn't the case for the whole series. This is still a storyboard driven show, but it's interesting. So, just before we go on to Skip's Luau, I do want to ask um, if you, sorry, I just suddenly realized how dark this question is. When the time comes and you enter the afterlife, what would be the one memory you would want to be treasured on a memory tape?
Well, okay, the day I first watched regular show, like entire like properly, without regular show, I do not know where I do not know where I'd be right now. I would not be the same person.
You wouldn't be doing a podcast on regular show at this moment.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I do not really imagine where I would be without regular show.
I'd probably, when I was a kid, I had a regular show party at my house. Just I had a bunch of friends from school come over, and I can't remember what we would have done. We probably just played regular show games on the Cartoon Network website. But I do remember we also did a bunch of like we recited a bunch of scenes from the show where like I was Rigby and one of my friends was Mordecai. And that's all lost media now. I don't know where those because we filmed them. I don't know where those videos have gone, but it
Uh,
would be great to see them done again. I'd like to have that entire party recorded on a tape. God knows why we didn't do that back then. I'd have the whole thing, except they could cut out the one part where suddenly one of my friends started arguing that Adventure Time was better.
are you trying to say that the regular show your regular show party would be a lost tape?
Oh, that's yeah, that's actually I shouldn't have said that. I've actually just spoiled an upcoming episode.
Wait, what?
Didn't you know there's an upcoming episode where it suddenly just cuts to my regular show party.
No, 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 no. You should have spoiled it for me. You should have spoiled it for me. You should not have you should not have spoiled the series for me. I don't know what I'm gonna do now.
The next episode, which is Skip's Luau. This was written and boarded by Maddie Brewer and Ryan Pequin. Let's talk a bit about this one.
To me, honestly, it feels like regular show is actually back, to be honest though. It is definitely it's definitely regular show it, you get what I mean. You get what I mean.
It does say regular show at the beginning.
It feels like regular show, honestly. It's not like all our reboots where it's like or like all our revivals where it definitely feels off. This one though, it's definitely regular show. This episode, honestly, it's a great episode overall. Lots of funny jokes. Like I love the hovercraft scene. One thing, like I wouldn't say it's not funny. It's just I don't think it works for the show. And I'll this is something like I'll bring up later. But it's the like Hall and Oates joke. I don't like. Yeah, I feel like yeah, like it is an '80s reference, which does work for a regular show. But like, I don't know. I feel like the way, like the characters like acts like about like this joke, like I don't know. It doesn't feel like regular show. They're like, what? How dare these aliens not think Hall and Oates is like the greatest band of all time back in the '80s or something like that. Like, I don't know. That feels more like something like The Simpsons or like Futurama would make. It's not bad, but I don't know. It felt a little off to me, honestly though. But and Mark Hamill's voice, I'm pretty sure he's like 74 or something now. So obviously, his voice isn't going to be perfect. So, but it did sound very off. And honestly though, those complaints they don't really affect the episode, honestly, for me. It's still a very funny episode and a very just very fun overall. I loved it.
But yeah, I do agree that like there is a notable difference with Mark Hamill's voice. Yeah, I don't know. I found just like a lot of the episode to be very fun. It felt just like a complete it was kind of like taking the piss out of cheesy 80s action movies where the love interest has like would it be offensive to say no personality?
I mean, yeah. I mean, not offensive, but just yeah, I kind of agree.
I think that's the point. And I mean the fact that she sees Doghouse and immediately just ditches Benson. I think my favorite line in the episode is so what was that, Benson? I couldn't hear you. I was too busy locking lips with Doghouse. Well, that was really fun. We've got another girl on Benson's long list of exes. Like another scene that really made me laugh was when Doghouse like first approaches Mordecai and Rigby in the hovercraft, and the director's in his ear like, "Well, are they aliens or not?" And then they just come up and they're like the hula dancing and they're going like luau, and then Doghouse is like, "They're definitely aliens."
Yeah. Um. Also, though, this is another thing I wanted to mention too. There is literally no reason for Mordecai and Rigby to actually be dressed like that, other than to have the plot line of them being aliens, of them the FBI thinking they're aliens.
I think the reasoning is because they have a giant jet engine behind them. I don't know why they're wearing like flipper arms, like flipper gloves. Oh, and also we can't forget the little mini plot of Benson and his motorcycle,
Yeah.
which implies this episode takes place before Busted Cart. Yeah, because we do see Benson riding a motorcycle in that episode. I just think it's so funny that Benson's gone through the trouble of renting a motorcycle, but he doesn't even know. He's just pushing it along. And I love the implication that like Benson has gone all the way from the park to the luau, which is on some beach, while just pushing the motorcycle along. Like that must have taken Benson so long.
Yeah.
But also, like, just going back to the Hall and Oates thing, it's nice to have more licensed music in the show.
Yeah, it is nice to have them have license music.
I've got a question. Would you try a luau burger?
Um, well, I have never had pineapple before, so I don't know if it's any good. So if it is good, I guess a burger is good. But I don't know. I maybe not. But if it's as good as Mordecai and Rigby say it is, I'll give it a try.
Yeah, I want to try a luau burger, just out of curiosity. Who know? I mean, I don't know if it'll be any good, but it'd be cool to try. I want to do all the regular show foods, and I'm glad that we've got a new one with the luau burger. So, on to the next episode. We've got Play Games, written and boarded by Sam Lane and Brian Mann. This was an episode where just one scene was used to promote the series quite a bit before it came out. A little montage scene in the middle. But yeah, what were your thoughts overall on Blade Games?
Well, this one feels like Peeps, but a lot funnier to be honest, where it's Benson just trying to get Mordecai and Rigby to work. But one thing though, I will say though, this has been a complaint for many people, not just for this episode, but for the whole series. It's the animation. Now for the most part, I don't mind the animation. I don't think it's that bad. Um, there are, however, some moments that I do feel like could have been done a little bit better. I do feel like this is a really good episode. And to be honest, though, like the animation, I could definitely just forget about that.
I agree on the animation for some scenes in this episode. It's particularly like in the second half, things start to look just a little bit rigged. It's the new way which Serum Animation are animating shows. And for some reason in this episode, it really sticks out. I don't know if just maybe the pacing of the movement needed to be a bit better, but there's two scenes in particular that do stick out with being a bit odd. One is after Mordecai and Rigby see the advertisement for the fake Blade games, they just kind of walk off, but they are literally just PNGs walking away. And if anybody's not seen our last episode of the podcast, by the way, I promise you this is relevant. We definitely check out the version we did on YouTube because we like very poorly animated those episodes on purpose. They wasn't meant to look good. It's meant to reflect the quality of the stories. Um, but so from editing those PNG animations, I became very familiar with like the basic stock images of regular show characters, and I instantly just recognized like that's the same image, but they've just animated their legs. In the second half of the episode, like Muscle Man and Skips just kind of look like PNGs, but their arms move, which is a shame because otherwise it is a really good episode. There's a lot of great jokes in this one. I love all the scenes with Benson watching tape with Joan Crandon. There's a comment about workplace harassment in there. There's her randomly just she just randomly like looks over the door while one of her employees is sat on the toilet. The show like it understands that yeah, this is ridiculous and you wouldn't get away with that, and that's why it's funny because they
Yeah,
also treat it like that. Like the way the characters respond to those situations are very real. You know, she's like, and I'm not going to ask you for compensation.
yeah. This one is just a very funny one to be honest.
And we've got I just got a high score in mopping. That's probably one of my favorite lines in the episode. Also some really great just talk about it more on the visual side, some great Benson expressions in this one. Like there's that one shot where Benson's trying to tell them that they did a good job and he sees no, they've done a terrible job and he just like he cringes so badly and the expression on his face is really funny. Pop's taking an air bath. Like Pop's just walking around naked with a towel around him.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah,
like okay, and then he's lurking in the bushes.
yeah. Uh,
And we also we have a little continuity thing with Rigby's egg allergy, and he has like the really dry eyes. That scene was really funny. Just overall, it's great to have a Benson episode. Benson's one of my favorite characters, so anytime we get an episode about him, it's like, yeah, let's do it. So just one last question before we move on to Nap Spot. If you were the park manager, what would be your number one way to motivate Mordecai and Rigby to do their jobs?
um, Branding to send them to the back rooms. Yeah, that one's all. Yeah,
Well, who knows? Pop survived it there, so maybe they will too.
maybe.
I was just gonna suggest, giving them little like work for half an hour, break for half an hour kind of thing. Also, I do think the competitive workplace thing can work. It definitely does motivate people. Maybe not in Benson's way. We have got Nap Spot, which was written and boarded by Alex Klein and Monty Ray. What do you think of this napful episode?
So far, this might be this might be the best episode of the show so far. So far. Um, there is another episode I do really enjoy. when it started, I wasn't like I felt like it was actually gonna be the weakest one, to be honest though. Simply because like I don't know, the intro kind of like remind me of Big Winner in a way, where it's just like Muscle Man pranking Mordecai and Rigby, and they're trying to get back at them. But like it does get much better from there. I love the scene of like them like spying on like Mordecai and Rigby spying on Muscle Man. And the scene with High Five Ghost. And then it gets better than from there, where actually like going to like the dream, and it's there's a lot of great visuals. And honestly though, I'd say this is actually like this episode has like the best animation so far of the series. And like I do love like Muscle Man, Mordecai and Rigby's relationship, how they like dynamic in the episode. Yeah, it also kind of reminded me of Sugar Rush, which and this one to me is much better than Sugar Rush though. But yeah,
Just in terms of what you were saying about like the visuals, I think there's a lot of great color in this episode. I like the blue portals that like they go through. And then also in the second realm, there's that big like abstract area, which I think is really cool. You get like the Mordecai with the three eyes. Yeah, I definitely agree. Like this is it's a very visually strong episode. What do you think of the Salvador Dali pops?
well, I mean, oh, it was quite it was like a very interesting visual, but like I still liked it.
He has lips, which Pops doesn't usually
Oh,
have. It felt quite disturbing to see Pops with lips. One thing I wanted to bring up was there was some discourse online about Rigby eating eggs in this episode, but it feels so like redundant. Like it's such a non-issue because right, there's the egg salad at the beginning, which we do not see Rigby eating at all.
yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Surprise, surprise, people who are allergic to stuff are still able to touch those things.
Yeah,
Uh, I mean, depends on the allergy, but clearly this isn't one of those allergies. And then people, obviously, he does eat eggs later on in the episode, but he's dreaming. Like, if someone in real life what's a common allergy?
peanut allergy.
Yeah, like if someone's got a peanut allergy in real life and they have a dream where they eat some peanuts, that's not going to cause an allergic reaction because they're not actually doing it. I don't know. I feel like there is still a group of people. Like I'm really just to get into the series as a whole for a moment. I'm really glad to see like the amount of positive reception that this series has had. But I do feel like there are some people out there that are just desperate to find something wrong, and they will be like, "Hey, this doesn't make sense," even though it makes perfect sense.
It's just people like wanting to hate on the series, but like they're like, oh, this is actually good, so they just like try to like come up with like some like pointless thing like to like talk about.
Just one other thing I want to mention about the episode. I love the again, I didn't notice that this was the joke the first time round, but I love how in Muscle Man's nap spot there's like the wall banner that says escape. And at first you think like, oh, you're going to escape into a dream, but then at the end, Muscle Man literally opens it up and it's the escape hatch. I thought that was really
Uh,
clever. So before we get into the next episode, I want to ask you if you were hunting down Muscle Man to find his secret nap spot, how would you follow Muscle Man?
I don't know. I think like I'll try to like be like Thomas, where I try to befriend Muscle Man, and try to like get closer to him, and like try and figure out like about the snap spot, and where it's hidden and stuff. So and then you know
I think I would use that technology that, if you remember, Dr. Henry had to shrink Mordecai and Rigby. I'd use that technology. I'd shrink down like Ant Man, I'd hide like, well, no matter where I hide, it would be gross. I'd hide in his ear, um, and then yeah, once he's there, I'd quickly pop out and hope I haven't already grown back to my normal size and split through his head. I didn't think that through. I would have to take a shower afterwards because God knows what's in Muscle Man's ears. Coffee Shop was written and boarded by Maddie Brewer and Ryan Pequin. Yeah, we've got a Margaret and Eileen episode, which is a nice change of pace. What do you think about this one?
I like the episode, but this is where I think the biggest flaw of the series, like where I don't know, it doesn't feel like a regular show. It feels more like I don't know, it doesn't feel like a regular show episode, honestly. It feels more like a modern day, like it feels like modern Futurama, which I don't really like. It's just not that funny to me, honestly. Like I do think some of the jokes in this episode are funny though. I do like I don't think this is a bad episode. I do think it is a decent episode. Goddesses of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the goddesses of fusion food. Like I do think that them in the episode, once it gets to that part, like it definitely does get better. But I don't know. It's just kind of like a problem I have.
Well, one thing I want to point out is this is actually the first episode of the entire series where somebody died. Somehow we got through the first four episodes without a single death. In this episode, I mean, we get the chef getting put through the industrial dishwasher. There's also there's a kid that gets blown up. It's the same kid who Rigby beat at air hockey in Fuzzy Dice. It's like the kid with the braces. He has now canonically died because he had like a piece of food which I don't remember throwing at him. Oh, it was an eggs Benedict.
Uh,
So I actually think we should create a page for this one character. We don't usually do pages for background characters, but I think he should have one.
yes, and it should be his memorial, you know.
As I referred to him in the image I've done for it, one kid who Rigby beat at air hockey that one time 14 years ago. We should have a page for him, and by cause of death, ex Benedict. Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. Again, just really glad to see like a Margaret and Eileen episode.
Yeah.
What were our predictions for this episode?
I think this was like one of the few episodes we actually did get right. Or well, I got right at least. I had this idea where it was just gonna be like, a rival coffee shop, you know.
Yeah,
Well, it wasn't really a coffee shop, but well, it's a place that kinda served coffee in a way,
that's
but
the thing that
but
I find kind of funny, the fact that it's called Coffee Shop Wars, but we don't see Hot Brown. Well, actually, the dough dunks are dunked in coffee.
yeah, like that's what I mean.
Yeah, but I was going to say like they don't serve any like cups of coffee. So are they really a coffee shop?
I mean, technically, yeah.
Well, before we move on to the next episode, I do want to ask if you could only eat one fusion food for the rest of your life, what would it be?
It's this thing that Pizza Hut in Dubai did a few years ago, where it's pretty much a pizza in the style of like a burger. So, pretty much the crust, it has meat patties like on it, and like the inside, it's more like burger toppings like lettuce, tomato.
I just thought it. I mean, would the Luau burger be considered a fusion food?
Well, not really, because like the pineapple is only just like a topping though. It's not really like, you know.
Well, what about if you put the Luau burger inside of a pineapple? I've just created the next big thing.
Yeah.
Goddesses of fusion. Strike me down if I am right. So I guess the goddesses didn't strike me, so it's not a good idea. Still, though,
Yeah.
I haven't made it yet, so maybe if I make a luau burger, pineapple burger, then I will get to dine with them.
That would be like the Last Supper, you know?
Boba or Bobust. And to celebrate, during this segment, I will be drinking Boba. Yeah, this episode was written and boarded by Alex Klein and Monty Ray. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on Boba or Bobust?
This is actually my favorite episode of the show so far. Simple reason, it is the most regular show one out of all these, and that is what I love. And, it is pretty much just a normal episode. Like it starts off normal, and then it progressively gets weirder and weirder as it goes on, and it is filled with stupid jokes, but funny stupid jokes. Like all the jokes about like balls and mouths.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
let's talk about Boba Casanova. Um, a great homage to the mask.
There is one scene though, like that I'm surprised they even got away with. Um it is like it's even more edgier than the balls and mouth joke. It is literally close up of Pops the Speedo, which was a lovely sight to see.
I mean, you can tell since Brain Eraser, Pops has not been skipping on those stretches.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a lot of fun. When Benson first said, "Why are there balls in my mouth?" I spat my drink out. Regular show has never made me do that before. I had to pause the episode and I just had to stop for like 10 minutes because I needed to get myself back together because it just came out of nowhere. And I loved how, I mean, that joke kind of just continued like, oh, why are the balls in it?
Was the drink you were drinking boba?
No. But during that 10-minute break, I did go and get Boba because I was like, I have to. It's the Boba episode. Like, just seeing Pops transform into Boba Casanova. As he says, there is a little Boba Casanova that lives inside all of us. It's probably the greatest Pops quote of all time.
Yeah.
More so than anything he said in the final season, his final words to Mordecai and Rigby. No,
Yeah.
completely outranked by the little Boba Casanova in all of us. Also, like the shots of like how Pops is drawn every time that like when Boba Casanova, I guess, leaves, like the shots of Pops looking completely drained and just like absolute gold. It reminds me of Guy's Night, when Pops
Oh
like
yeah.
vomits all the milk. So just before we get into the next episode, if you were in charge of creating a new type of boba, what would you put in the drink instead of the balls slash pearls?
Benson's balls. It's gumballs. It's gumballs. Instead of Benson asking, why are there balls in my mouth? He would be saying, why aren't there balls in my mouth? Because, he's a gumball machine. So once he drinks boba, he'll have his balls he'll have his gumballs in his mouth.
I feel like if Benson's gumballs were in a boba, you'd have to spend quite a while though, because obviously you're not supposed to swallow them, right? Like you'd spend a lot of time with that boba, and if you were a boba addict, you wouldn't have to. You'd only have to buy one, and it would probably last you the whole day. Do you want to know what I would do?
What?
Car tires, like not the wheels, but the tires themselves.
Wait, what?
We never said that it had to be like a regular boba. This could be a super duper large boba with a bunch of tires in it. I don't know why you would drink that, but I'd be curious to see because you know how the world reacts to like the craziest food. I mean, we've just gone through this with coffee shop wars. Um, if suddenly some big boba company announced they were making a giant size boba with car tires in it, I guarantee you, there would be people that would go and drink it. I'd drink that.
Well, I was trying to like not think of stuff. I was trying to think of something that would actually be edible instead of something that like wouldn't be edible.
Corpse Flower, also by Alex Klein and Monty Ray. I love the synopsis for this because it's actually also wildly inaccurate. It's just some flowers smell really bad. When it turns out it's just one flower.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this episode?
I like the plot line with Rigby. He's trying to get to the corpse flower as well as trying to get to Margaret's poetry reading. Like a lot of the jokes in the episode are very funny. I love the amount of if you say what jokes like they're stupid but like I don't know that they get me every time.
I think my favorite joke in the episode is like right at the beginning. Eileen just runs up to him and she's like, "Hey guys, you want to smell a deceased bud?" Like I never thought in my life I would hear Eileen asking if they wanted to smell a corpse.
I don't think the Margaret plotline is as good as the Rigby one though. It is just like it is kind of just mostly just her just freaking out to be honest and um I'm gonna be honest with you, her poem sucked.
What do you mean? That was also one of the greatest parts of the episode.
I don't know, her poem sucked. Didn't rhyme.
Poems don't have to rhyme. You've got M for Margaret, A for awesome, R for really awesome, G for great, A for amazing, R for really, really awesome, E for excellent, and T for triumph.
Okay, I would like to take back what I said about Margaret's poem. After hearing it again, I would like to apologize for what I said. It really is the greatest poem that ever exists.
Also, I just want to say on Margaret's poem, the actual performance of it is so funny. It's like specifically the G is for great, but it's just like everything is just completely chaotic around her. It's just like that one letter or line in the poem. Just it basically had me in stitches.
It was a good episode overall, though. It's just the Margaret plotline. I think they could have just done something better with it, to be honest.
Just Eileen is so great in this episode. She's got so many just funny random lines. It's like it's exhibit A as to why Eileen's such a great character. And I love that for her. And I'm really glad that she's got quite a bit more screen time. Before we go into the next episode, we're going to stick onto that poem. Could you give me an acrostic poem based on your username for the wiki? I'll do the same.
Okay. M is for Mortar Chad. O is for oh my god, it's Mortar Chad. R is for really? Is it actually Mortar Chad? D is for Dios mío, es muerto Chad. O is for oh good god, it is Mortar Chad. C is for can't believe it, it's Mortar Chad. H is for holy it's Mortar Chad. A is for oh, I can't believe it is Mortar Chad. And D is for dude, it's Mortar Chad.
It was beautiful. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
It's times like this. I'm really glad I chose a short username. This is going to make zero sense, but it'll be great. J is for Jordan. O is for omnipotent. P is for poetry. And O is for, oh yeah, there's another O.
Um, that was good, but I do feel like mine was better, to be honest.
We have got Beginson, written and boarded by Hilary Florido and Madeline Caripel. What are your thoughts on the beginning of Benson, aka Beginson?
I feel like this might be a fan favorite episode from what I've heard so far. So some people may not like what I'm gonna say here. Well, the plot it is on the surface, it's a good enough plot. Where where we get to see like Benson's old story with heir to the throne and how he became member of the park and stuff. But there is just some continuity errors that ruin it for me that were like it doesn't like I just don't buy the story and therefore I just don't care for it at all. This is a very funny episode though, which does make up for it. I did enjoy it, like a lot of the jokes, but this might be one of my least favorites so far though.
But once upon a time, it was told that Muscle Man and High Five Ghost were given their jobs at the park by Benson. This episode says no. Muscle Man and High Five Ghost already worked at the park before Benson, which, yeah, I completely get it. I was like, wait, that doesn't make sense. This is me being a total nerd. I'm sure the casual viewer won't give two flying monkeys about this, but it did, upon my first watch, kind of harm how I viewed the episode. I've rewatched it a few times though, and I do really enjoy it. It is still a good story on the surface. It's just don't think Muscle Man and High Five Ghost should have been there, but I understand that they had to be there because, not to get too ahead of myself, but because of what this episode leads into. Another thing is for some reason, so in the episode, Benson, when he first joins the park, Pops takes him into what will one day become Mordecai and Rigby's room, and it's fully decorated. Um, Even though when we first saw Mordecai and Rigby move into the room, it was empty. This I can forgive a little bit more because who knows, maybe some crazy thing happened and the entire room got trashed and Pops just didn't redecorate it. And then Mordecai and
Yeah,
Rigby happened to decorate it the exact same way. On to the positives. It's so funny the implication that on Benson's first day as manager, he just straight up murdered a guy and completely got away with it. Nobody knew, nobody knows that Benson killed him, and they all just think he just left. And there's also Pops being sly about talks to Benson, telling him like there's certain things or people that I just can't handle. Pops was great in the episode, as he always is. But in this episode particularly, like he did stand out.
yeah.
So before we get into the next episode, I want to ask. Obviously, we live in the modern world, and there's a lot of talk on AI. It could be easily argued that the Drumatron VI kind of represents that. You know, Benson gets replaced by an artificial intelligence. So instead, let's think of a potential other thing they could have replaced Benson with instead of a drum machine to make Heir to the Throne a little bit less problematic.
They should have hired me, to be honest. I feel like I would be a fantastic member of Hair to the Throne.
I was going to suggest they could hire like a washing machine that makes like a drumming sound, right?
Sorta. Or they could get one of those like wee monkey toy things. They could get one of those.
Good Mitch Spiking. This was written and boarded by Sam Lane and Brian Mann. What are your thoughts on this episode?
Well, since this is a continuation of Beginson, I don't buy the story here at all. And like honestly though, even if I did, like this might be the weakest one so far though, because like I kind of don't really. It's not really all that interesting, really. There are a few funny moments, though. But again, like it's all right enough. But like I don't know, I don't really care for it to be honest.
Yeah, there's some great like jokes throughout this episode. I love there's quite a smart joke because it's funny out of context, but then it's just like funnier in context. Where Dan Diggs says at the beginning, like, I'm a pro volleyball player. At least I used to be. Now I'm 26 years old and my whole life behind me. Except then it's revealed at the end, oh no, his life literally is left behind him because he's dead. And then there were a couple of big surprises in this episode that I really wasn't expecting. I never expected them to follow up on the idea of Muscle Man's first breakup with Starla and then Starla getting with Steve. Obviously, this is something that was revealed back when Starla first appeared. She's got that tattoo. It's cool. We got to meet Steve. If the way that Starla determines that she's in a relationship is getting a tattoo of their name on her butt, then that kind of implies that Mordecai is officially an ex-boyfriend of Starla's, which is just it's so funny to think of.
I think they work. I mean, it is definitely top five ships of all time, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's just too good, you know?
Yeah, Mordecai really fumbled her.
Yeah,
They could have been together forever.
yeah.
Starla living in eternal bliss and Mordecai living in eternal misery. And then, I mean, so the other big surprise that came along, and this is something, spoilers for our previous podcast. I predicted things again. Mr. Coffee Bean Translator made a return,
Oh
not
yeah.
being quite as murderous as how I wrote him back in 2014. Yeah, we got to see him. He was the Dolphins translator. Then the dolphin died, and then we got like a little. We kind of basically also got an origin story for him and the coffee bean meeting, which that was not on my 2026 bingo card.
I guess it is kind of funny, I suppose. I like the joke beforehand though, where it's like translator translating what the dolphin says like while it's dying. Like that one I thought was funny.
Yeah, there was a lot more, I think, comedic value to the translator this time, and also just want to give a props up. He wasn't voiced by Mark Hamill this time. He was voiced by Eric Bowser, who is of Filipino descent. So a little bit closer. So what I want to ask now before we head into the next episode is if you had to get any one name tattooed on you, like Starla does, any one name of anybody in the entire history of the universe, what name would that be?
This one I need to be very wise with, and I need to think about this one very carefully. You know what? Let's see what Starla did the first time and say Muscle Man.
That's a good answer. I would say Mr. Blobby.
Isn't that like pink thing from like the 90s?
So to anyone who's unaware of Mr. Blobby, he is a British icon. He's like this big pink guy. He's got big eyes with eyelashes, and he goes blobby, blobby, blobby. I'd happily get his name tattooed anywhere, next to a little tattoo of his face. And hey, if anybody out there has a Mr. Blobby tattoo, feel free to send it over, and we might share it. We won't share it, but we might. We have got Stilt Walkers, written and boarded by Maddie Brewer and Ryan Pequin. What are your thoughts on Stilt's episode? That was a very poor joke, I'm sorry.
It's a good episode. Thing is, though, it doesn't feel like a regular show to me. It feels more like an American Dad episode to me. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, though. It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's just not really like regular show like, and like Uncle Sam, though, like I don't really like I don't know. That feels a little like again like some like from my American Dad and like still good, I suppose. It's just I don't know. Some things could be better.
Well, this is my favorite of the episodes that have released so far. It felt like this would have fit in perfectly in like the middle of season six. I love just how emphasized the whole like American idealism stuff is. I love the commentary on that. Just everything from like when Uncle Sam goes, "I want you to give me $12,000," and then you get like the reveal of the sign where it says United Stilts of America. I just burst out laughing. Didn't spit my drink out. I wasn't drinking a drink. I love any episode that like focuses on Rigby and his relationship with his dad. It's something I wish was more delved into in the original series, and I'm glad that they've delved into that here. Obviously, we've seen Rigby's dad like being horrible to him, but the youngest we've ever really seen that is like Rigby as a teenager. Here we're seeing Rigby as like what I'm assuming is like barely out of the womb, and he's just being scolded and verbally abused by his dad. And I think that's really heartbreaking. In my opinion, it's a really great episode. I love all the just stilt jokes.
It's still a good episode. I do like Rigby and his dad and stuff. I don't know, I've just seen like American Dad and like other shows similar to that, and it's like I could just see a plot line like that just being in like one of those shows. So like I think that's like why I'm just thinking, yeah, this is like American Dad, like
So to close this off, just one last question. His idea of the perfect photo is him on stilts being two giant chopsticks and a Santa decoration being some sushi. So, what, in your opinion, because of course Rigby is right, that is the greatest photo idea of all time, but what could make that idea even better? If you could change just one thing.
Not gonna lie though, I'm guessing I guess I just guess like Rigby's photo is perfect the way it is, and there's nothing you could really improve on it. So
There's always room for improvement.
even for perfection,
Yeah,
I don't know. Rigby wearing his excellent hat. That's like the only thing I can think of.
I think it would be pretty cool if, Rigby wasn't on the stilts. And instead, they called over the baby ducks for them to transform. And then, because Rigby's idea is that it's a giant eating sushi,
Oh yeah,
but Rigby's not much of a giant, so they could get the baby ducks to eat the Santa decoration.
that's a good idea.
I think that's how you would improve perfection. Unfortunately, that is the last of the episodes that have released, and we don't know when the next episodes are coming because of this great new way of releasing episodes all at once on streaming and then staying silent for months on end. However, Mordo Chad, I do believe you have ranked these episodes. Would you like to share your ranking?
Yes, I did. So I will go from worst to best. So, and number 10 is Good Mitch Spiking. Number 9, Beginson. 8, Coffee Shop Wars. 7, Stilt Walkers. 6, Blade Games. 5, Corpse Flower. 4, Skip Luau. 3, Fix That Tape. 2, Nap Spot. And number 1, Boba or Bobust. How would you rank these episodes?
I suck at ranking, so I don't know if I even can. I have really enjoyed every episode. I can say like what my favorites are. I'd say Stilt Walkers, Boba or Bobust, and Skip's Luau are my top three. Just three really strong episodes that they left me with a smile on my face and just made me think like, yeah, it's back. Well, we all know regular show is back. However, what you may not know is the interviews are back. The podcast itself is going to be taking a bit of a break. Not that that means anything because we are very inconsistent with our episodes. Um, but we have got a bunch of new interviews lined up celebrating the release of the Lost Tapes. So this time around, we'll be just announcing one guest at a time. If you check our socials, then pretty soon you should have the announcement for the first guest. Yeah, this is really exciting. I loved doing the interviews last year. We will be having those episodes coming out from June onwards. And once this next batch of interviews is done, then we will return to our regularly, no pun intended, scheduled programming where we've got some pretty fun ideas for upcoming episodes.
Now we don't know exactly when the next episodes of the Lost Tapes are gonna release, but in the meantime, though, you can watch our previous podcast on YouTube, where we are both reading regular show fan fictions, old ones that Jordan had made when they were like 11.
Mostly 11, then there's like two when I was 12.
It was a very fun episode to record.
Just make sure you check out the YouTube version. There is an audio version, if you prefer to listen to that, but you will be missing out because the YouTube version has, again, amazingly animated uh, sequences. I just really hope people enjoy them. I know we've had a few comments so far with people being like, "This is great."
And as well as watching our podcast on old regular show fan fictions, you should also watch some of our previous interviews. They are really they're really interesting and great to watch.
I hope you all have enjoyed the Lost Tapes. I hope you did follow the warning at the beginning if you hadn't already watched it, and we haven't just spoiled everything for you. Check it out. Streaming on HBO Max all across the world, and you can watch it on Cartoon Network in the US. And you can also buy it digitally because people don't seem to know that. I hope you all have a great day, night, afternoon, morning, whatever. And I'll see you all next time.
I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast and hope you have a great day. And yeah, bye.
Bye, everyone.